Mercy TV, Wednesday night.
Hello, welcome everybody to our Wednesday night meeting organized by Mercy, the Medical Cannabis Resource Center. Our purpose here is to inform, educate, and activate on and through the medical cannabis issue. We do that by performing outreach, help desk, and networking on the cannabis issue, medical cannabis issues here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. To give you an example of the scope of our research and information, we have an email also posted on our bulletin board. A patient in France is looking for Canisol, which is a cannabis sativa derivative. It's made into a liquid form and used primarily for glaucoma, treatment of eye disease, like that nature. Hopefully folks out there in virtual land will send us a chat confirming that we're coming through okay, that the sound and vision is all what it should be. Don't be shy. Type away. Just don't let Sonny type it, alright? If I find out he was typing that stuff, I'm going to hurt somebody over there. Okay, thanks. So, Mercy Center helps folks to get their card, to find medicine now, to find a grower or to get growing yourself, to also best forms of medicating, as well as changes, whether you need to make a change, you need to find a new grower, or change to the program. For example, currently we are on campaign to add the condition PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, to the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program. That is, we're trying to add PTSD to the list of qualifying conditions for folks to register with the program. Currently, folks who utilize medical cannabis for their PTSD have to either rely on having some other condition or symptom that qualifies them for the program. For example, sufferers of PTSD quite often also suffer from pain due to injury that they got along with the PTSD. Also, if you're taking medication for PTSD and it causes nausea, nausea is one of the qualifying conditions also. Folks that aren't, quote, fortunate enough, unquote, to have one of these other conditions, they just use cannabis for their PTSD, should then be aware of your affirmative defenses. You can still, should you be forced to go to court, to go to trial for your use of cannabis for PTSD, you have an affirmative defense. You can say that you use it for your medicinal purposes there. Whereas before the program, before the law, you didn't have that affirmative defense. You should be aware that you need to be 2 ounces or less. You don't have the same limits that you would with the program, but at least you have some defense. Just be aware that you need to stay under those limits. All right, well, good. We got feedback from our folks out there in virtual land that we are coming through loud and clear. Very good, thanks. And so most folks will be able to get the information that we have here tonight. We are both capturing this on video for cable TV as well as live streaming it. So our folks in our audience here should be aware of that and not blurt out any information that they don't want broadcast around the world, like their phone number, what time they're home, silly little things like that. So let me start off though by asking the audience here, querying the folks here, how many folks are patients looking for a grower? Patients looking for growers? Nope. Growers looking for patients? Nope. Okay. Folks just looking to get with the program here, information about it? Someone that you might need to apply with it, or you're looking to...
Just looking with all the changes coming out, looking how a supporter of this program, what I can do.
Okay.
Because I kind of have no clue in the everyday world. So I
Right.
come here to see if what I can do in a positive
Mhm.
way to help this movement. I'm taken care of as far as a grower and a patient.
Okay. Your question or? Or just cross the two? Okay. Well, just if you have any questions, just raise your hand and
Thank you.
blurt them out, because that's what we're here for. Folks should also be aware that we're open noon to 6 Monday through Friday. Also, folks can come down and get information there. Give us a call at our phone number, 503-363-4588. Leave your phone number, message there. We'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. Also, through the internet at mercycenters.org, leave a note on one of our bulletin boards, the relevant bulletin board, or send us an email. Catch the link at the top there. Particularly if you don't find what you're looking for, we'll send you the link to it there. Oh no, a question from the audience. Sir.
It's
Whom
working.
I've never met or spoken with before. Yes.
Your internet connection is working.
Oh, good. Yeah, we got some feedback here from folks that the chat's working there too. Good. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us more about the PTSD bill and what went on there?
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us?
Yes,
more?
I can. In fact, need to get an email out because folks can see on YouTube a video of the last hearing that was held on it and get all the information on it there. In summary, there's a bill to add PTSD to the OMMP. It's Senate Bill 281, and it is currently before the Committee on Health and Human Services. It had a hearing on Thursday, February 7th, and it was well attended by supporters. There's about 20 people that spoke to it. The committee was very supportive, letting folks speak. I mean, there's about 2.5 hours of testimony. That's pretty long for a committee hearing, for them to allow, that much.
They like it to go an hour longer.
Yeah, so 2.5 hours total, a good long time. And at the end of it, one of the committee people spoke out that they were going to be attending a funeral shortly for someone who had suffered through this condition. And so I think that, and they recommended a due pass on the bill through this committee. So we hope that others were also so affected and will see that thing pass through. It wouldn't hurt to have folks contact the committee and add their testimony to it, just in case there was any doubts by any of the committee members there. Also, it would be good exercise, good practice for folks, because they're going to need to do this again at least a couple more times. Now, if Senate Bill 281 does pass through the Committee on Health and Human Services, it will go before the Senate Judicial Committee, and then we'll may want to do this all again. We certainly want to contact the committee and encourage them to do pass it. If they hold hearings, we want to fill the hearing room again. If the judicial also passes it, hopefully with a due pass, it may go to the floor. It may go to the Senate floor. In which case, we'll certainly want to. At that point, you should have already contacted your senators, and they should be already educated on Senate Bill 281. That is for PTSD. That helps a lot of folks. A lot of folks have PTSD. That the alternatives are not only ineffectual, but have some really harmful side effects. And folks can again tune to our website, mercycenters.org/TV. We have a link to our YouTube library there, and see the hearing on SB 281 and listen yourself to the testimony of veterans, particularly how they were there speaking for, 10 other veterans who couldn't be there, who wanted to be there, but it was just too difficult for them to get out, too difficult for them to speak, too difficult, all the things that went with it.
Crowd.
They're veterans, particularly, but all sufferers of PTSD suffer a double stigma in seeking cannabis to treat their condition because of the stigma for the condition as well, again, particularly amongst the military. So it was important for all these points to be stated before the Health and Human Services. We're going to need to do it again, possibly again. As I said, it goes through judicial, it goes to the Senate floor. Hopefully it will go from the Senate floor to the House of Representatives. And from there, we would like to see it do pass with an emergency clause so that it goes into effect immediately and that there's no delay on getting this relief to these folks. Because, you know, when we get this law passed, what it means to have this condition added to the qualifying list is a freedom for these folks, freedom from fear. And for folks already suffering a condition like PTSD, it's wrong for these folks who sacrificed in particular to suffer fear in America for taking the medication that works, in some cases the only medication that works. We have some more information off our website on the campaign for PTSD, how to contact your representative, and the best ways to communicate with them. We have it by phone, by email. Visiting, of course, is the best way. We have letter to the legislator examples. We have a lot of literature with some more information on PTSD, what it is, how it affects people, and particularly how cannabis works for PTSD and other conditions, situations like that, causing severe anxieties and depressions and other mental conditions and disorders, basically, for folks. Things that we are, as I said, currently throwing all kinds of toxic cocktails at, which, you know, as I said, quite often don't work and have the adverse effect, make folks slip out. Suicide rates amongst those taking certain medications allowed by the U.S. government are higher than the suicide rate without it. This thing is apparently worse than the disease in some cases. So extremely safe, efficacious, relatively inexpensive. It was nice during the hearing, and again, folks, go to our YouTube capture of it. But Dr. Lester Grinspoon was one of the experts that spoke on it. He's a doctor at Harvard College of Psychiatry, I believe, and you know, spoke to the fact that no one's died from cannabis and all the documentation of it. And believe me, if anyone had suffered even harmful effects from it, the U.S. government would be dragging that person around like the Elephant Man. We'd see that person more often than the Reefer Madness movie of the 30s there. True or not, you know, if they could just claim it in any way, shape, or form, but still. So, those points were made, and it's important for folks to make that point also. Another thing was that cannabis is relatively inexpensive. It's relatively a lot of modalities of delivery that allow you for titration or controlling the dosages. When we talk about delivery, there's more ways and means than smoking. There's the vaporizing and, of course, teas, tinctures, medibles, and The medibles is where folks with sleep apnea, something that folks with PTSD frequently suffer from, the ability to sleep, inability to sleep, making edibles, concentrates, and consuming in that manner is a good way to apply it in a slow manner, not the quick spike that one gets from smoking it, but it applies slowly, plateaus, and usually lasts a good portion through the night. And as we said, even in these concentrated dosages, still haven't had any fatalities, which is same can't be said for pretty much any other medication out there. So these are all good things. They came about from the hearing on PTSD, and we expect to have more opportunities, so we'll be gathering this up, posting it on our various web pages. We have a web page on Senate Bill 281 where we have the text of it. We'll be having letters to the editor, letters to the legislator, examples stashed there, some links to news items. There's been a couple of stories, very positive for it. And certainly the flyers, quarter sheets, and anything that you can print off and hand out to further educate, inform, educate, and activate folks on the PTSD for OMMP issue that will open the doors to defying prohibitionists for certain. And they will be popping their ugly heads up along the campaign here. We'll be hearing things like, we don't want to expand the program, like there's some nonsensical number of folks that are allowed to be well, you know, makes no sense. But then if you probe a little bit further, you find out that's based on the fact that marijuana is evil and dangerous, and these folks that consume cannabis need to be watched. That's basically the premise of the medical marijuana program. It has these health risks that in fact, it has no medical value. Pretty much all the reefer madness lying has some basis in fact, and very much like the Jews in Nazi Germany, the potheads need to register with their state and report on a regular basis and everything. Yeah, you're after all responsible for all the problems in the world, don't you know? I speak sarcastically, of course. This is the place where we keep information on activism for this issue. As we said, we register voters. We keep informed on not just how to find out what bills are in play, but to submit bills yourself, how to lobby your legislator for passing a bill, how to do an initiative yourselves. Also running for office, you know, whatever it takes to take back this state and indeed this country through this issue. As we said, there is no clear way to identify special interests serving little trolls like this issue here, particularly now during the campaign for PTSD. So as we were saying before, information on how to get your card, and not just for folks with PTSD, but also those who suffer from fibromyalgia. It is usually the pain from the fibromyalgia that's the qualifier. Unfortunately, the fibro itself, not quite yet. Epilepsy, I believe, is qualifying, although they prefer to wait till you're having seizures and falling down and twitching on the floor before they allow you, as a rule. Yes?
Does Oregon have dispensaries?
No, Oregon doesn't have dispensaries yet. They don't have any means for one person to transact financially with another for cannabis. There is a provision for the patient to pay back their grower for costs that the grower has incurred. Those are costs that the grower can prove, as you were, by virtue of an invoice. So if you have a bill from the power company, from the water, or wherever, You present that to your patient, the patient can write you a check or give you cash for that amount for that, on that basis.
You said Oregon had no dispensaries.
No.
I just went to a dispensary like an hour ago
Uh-huh.
on State Street.
Uh-huh. That's not legal.
That's not legal? Okay, because
No.
there's two of them. There's one right there on State off of by like Center, and then there are not Center, State, and, and then there's one, the Piccolo Club.
Right, yeah.
Those aren't legal?
No,
How
no.
come nothing's
The
being
exchange
done?
of money for medicine, other than the grower and their patient, under those circumstances, that's the only exchange of money
Okay.
that's sanctioned by OMA.
So is it just a low priority for the state to go after them?
How do they
Not
do
that-
it?
Yeah.
No, actually, they had a campaign here not too long ago. They first off sent letters to all the quote dispensaries and centers saying to cease and desist. They sent letters to the landlords,
Wow.
and in some cases, some were raided.
Because you would think, even though that's, in my look, it's okay that they're there, but because it's not legally should be there, that's really not giving our cause the right look that we're trying to do.
Well, some of them have programs and plans to where they're trying their best to cover everybody. And we're sympathetic to them philosophically.
Exactly,
You know,
yes.
we reach out to everybody, whatever they're trying to do. We're network on it. We don't necessarily want to know what you're doing. We just want to work together, you know, and certainly exchange whatever information we have, either from experience, from our attorneys, or, you know, like I said, practical experience, what you've gone through with law enforcement and all. Which is very difficult because folks are concerned that for various levels. Be that as it may, some will sign you over as as a patient for a short term, and during that time collect monies from said patient for lights, foods, all that stuff, their portion of it, as it were. Okay, that's one process that folks go through. I don't know what all the places do. As I said, we try to reach out. We want to get the information. In some cases, they don't want that information out advertised. In some cases, for obvious reasons. There's a couple of delivery services. You know, it's call up how much you want. That's what it's going to cost you. Come, boom, boom, money thing. I don't know how they're going to, medical necessity, affirmative defense. You know, a choice of evils. I had to do that. There was that guy go to the black market. You know, what would you have to do? But our philosophy is, and the folks who are doing this should be that it's the law that's wrong. They should definitely not. You're right. Oh, I'm sorry. Or
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.